Today we will be ranking how good chapters really are from worst to best. Okay, so let's start with chapter 1 that had actually 10 seasons. Season 1 was the beginning of Fortnite with a basic map and just a full on basic loot pool. Season 2 had the first ever battle pass with the introduction of Tilted Towers.
Your arms up at your side, do the tilted tower dance, go tilted.
From the community, Season 3 is one of the best seasons, at least top 10 best seasons, and was actually the first ever Prime season. And Season 4 was the start of our storyline, with a pretty solid battle pass, to be honest. One of my favorite battle passes ever in Fortnite, with Carbide, Omega, and many cool skins, and also had the introduction of Dusty Divot. Season 5, in my opinion, was at least in top 5 best seasons, with Kevin the Cube, and such an iconic season, with the Battle Pass being one of my favorite Battle Passes, and the Desert Biome having Paradise Palms and much more, and one of my favorite skins, Drift. Season 6 again was a really good season. Why? Because at the end of the season we had the Butterfly event, which is one of the best events ever. And also it had the floating Kevin POI. In the community rankings, Season 7 is one of the worst seasons ever, but in my opinion, I loved Season 7, not because I loved the sword, but because it had such a really good map with the snow biome, Happy Hamlet, and so many other new stuff. Now let's be real. The end event for Season 7 was the Ice King event, which honestly, yeah, it sucked really bad. But we did have the Marshmallow concert, which was at least one of the best concerts ever. Season 8 waged so many players at the end of the season because the live event was where the volcano destroyed Tilted Towers and Retail Row. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, it also destroyed Frosty Flakes, which actually was how the monster came out. Which brings us to Season 9. Season 9 was a really good season because it was a Neo theme, and I love Neo themed seasons. That's why Chapter 4 Season 2 is also one of the best seasons ever to exist. It also had a real good storyline because there was the Mega versus Monster event at the end of the season, and after Tilted Towers and Retail Row got destroyed by the volcano, Retail Row turned into Mega Mall, and Tilted Towers turned into Neo Tilted. Now, I've heard a lot of complaints about Season 10, aka Season X, but in my opinion, it was also a kind of really bad season, but it was also a really good season. The bad part was that the mechs were so annoying, and the good part that it just had so many good collabs with Batman turning Tilted Towers into like a Batman Towers, and Borderlands that turns Paradise Palms into that collab, and the Black Hole event at the end of the season. Now, Chapter 2, Season 1 was the first season of a new chapter, Chapter 2. And it started on October 15th, but was supposed to end on December, then got delayed until February 6th, and then got delayed until February 20th. Yeah, it was actually a 4-month long season, and that's why a lot of people hate Season 1. Now, in my opinion, I love Season 1, and let's be real. Season 1 brought swimming. Season 1 brought so many new POIs, and Season 1 didn't just take away one of your favorite POIs in Chapter 1. It still had Pleasant Park, Retail Row, and all of those fun POIs. Well, yeah, Season 1 was really long, 4 months, but it also did have some cool collabs, like the Star Wars collab and a really good Winterfest. Oh, I'm really excited to talk about this. Chapter 2, Season 2 is apparently the number 1 best season in all of Fortnite. It had so many bosses across the entire map, and it even had one of my favorite mythics, the minigun. The battle pass was really solid with Midas, Tiantina, Sky, Brutus, Agent Peely, and even Meowskulls. And it also had a collab, Deadpool, which was the secret skin for Chapter 2 Season 2. Now, the Battle Pass was really a grind. If you want full gold Peely, you would have to be level 350. Now, I did not get such a high level, so no, I don't have such a rare skin. Now, yes, season 2 was actually a really long season, but in my opinion, I think it was really good that Fortnite made the season really long. If people needed to grind so much, the season gotta be so long. At the end of Chapter 2, Season 2, we had the Device event, which was actually really cool. It was the first storyline live event of Chapter 2, which actually failed Midas's plan, but it also introduced a really big tsunami, and that introduced Season 3. Chapter 2, Season 3 was actually the opposite of Season 1 and Season 2, because it was really short and it was just really fun with a flooded map, and now and then it was just gonna the water level was getting lower and lower and lower until the end of the season there was no more flooded. After that we had another really good season, basically the Marvel season, Chapter 2 Season 4, which was a wonderful season. It had Iron Man, Wolverine, Doctor Doom, and so many awesome POIs, with also the mid-season update introducing Stark Industries and Fortnite introducing Shadow Midas. At the end of the season, we had a wonderful live event, basically the Galactus live event, the Devourer of Worlds, where we had to stop Galactus from eating the 0 point. Now, Galactus did damage a lot of the 0 point, and that introduced us to Season 5, where the IO had to gather a lot of hunters to make nobody escape the loop. And also, it was a really good season. Why? Because we had sand tunneling, which only lasted 10 days, and we just had a lot of really good collabs with, Chun-Li. After season 5, we had Primal. Primal is the worst season ever from the community, actually. And I don't know anybody that loves Primal. I just really hate Primal. Why? Because Primal just had so confusing things like crafting, and it was just really overwhelming. I don't know where to begin with that season. Well, it was good because after that season we had Invasion, which was an alien season, and aka Chapter 2 Season 7. And in my opinion, I loved that season because the summer event, Cosmic Summer, was really good. We also had so many good collabs like Wonder Woman, Solid Snake, and so many others. And at the end of the season, we had Operation Skyfire. After Skyfire, we got introduced to Chapter 2, Season 8. Look, Season 8 was actually kind of a really good season, but it was a really bad map. When Season 8 started, we had no POIs. We just had some orange spots on the map which didn't change a thing. And we saw so much destruction, and none of that destruction actually showed up in Season 8. Now, the good things of Season 8, that Season 8 had a lot of good updates, like Fortnite Mirrors, aka the Wrath of the Cube Queen, that introduced the Convergence, aka the Pyramid of the Cubes, I guess, and it was a really good POI. And we had so many new updates, like the board where you had to vote for what gun should come back. And we also got introduced to Combat AR. We also had the Naruto collab, which is one of the best collabs ever in Fortnite. And at the end of the season, we had the Flip live event, which was such a good live event. But it was also a pretty bad live event. After Chapter 2 Season 8, we got introduced to Chapter 3. Chapter 3 Season 1 was actually one of the best seasons ever, at least top 5. Actually, top 3. And why was it so good? It had Spider-Man. It had so many cool collabs and so many cool updates and a lot of map changes. It even had some storyline. Now let's move on to Season 2 of Fortnite. A lot of people didn't like Chapter 3 Season 2, but in my opinion, I loved that season. Why? Because it had such a good storyline. It had one of the best POIs, the Collider, and it just had so many cool collabs like Doctor Strange and Prowler. And at the end of the season, we had the Collision live event, which honestly wasn't a really good live event. And that was also there in chapter 3 where the live events started to fall off. After that season, we had Vibin. Now, most people hate Vibin because it just sounded really lazy. Fortnite never really made that many updates, and it wasn't that good, to be honest, because in the summer event we had a concert stage and we really thought there was going to be a concert, but there was nothing. And the summer event, no, so summer was really, really bad. Moving on to season 4. Season 4 apparently is like a good season, but also a really bad season. I kind of like season 4, but also didn't like it. Because it was really overwhelming with all of that Chrome and stuff. But I also liked season because it had really many map changes, and it was just had a lot of good collabs and a lot of good updates. Like there was a Star Wars collab and a lot more. Now season 4 was also the last season of chapter 3, and the end event for chapter 3 was Fracture, and it was really bad. It was basically where we just had to make chores and quests, and it was really bad. Moving on to Chapter 4. Chapter 4 Season 1 apparently was a really good season to the community, but one bad thing about it was that in entirety of Chapter 4 we had no mid-season map changes. We had to wait basically 3 whole months for new map changes to come, and honestly Winterfest and all of those seasonal events really was just bad in Chapter 4. Season 2 was one of the best seasons ever because it had actually a really good loot pool, Havoc Pump, don't get me wrong, and the biome, the Mega Biome with Mega City, the Mega City just really felt like a remake of Tilted Towers that nobody wanted, and it was just kind of bad, but the season was pretty good with Miles Morales collab being there and a lot of other stuff. Now moving on to Season 3, Chapter 4 Season 3 Wilds. Apparently really bad season. I hated it so much. Why? Because the jungle biome was such a bad biome compared to the chapter 1 jungle biome. Really good. But chapter 4, I wasn't a fan of it. And the summer event, oh my god, don't get me wrong. The summer event for season 3 of chapter 4 was worse than No Sweat Summer. After Wilds, we actually had a kind of really good season, and it was Last Resort, where we really thought Midas was gonna come back, but no, he didn't at all come back. Instead, we had a vampire. And the thing is, how were we gonna kill the vampire? Because it was the villain. How was the vampire gonna be defeated? Not by a live event, not by a trailer, but by a quest. Do one quest and you killed the villain of the season. I just feel like Last Resort was just the key for Fortnite OG. Now, Fortnite OG was a really good season, but Fortnite OG actually wasn't a part of Chapter 5 or Chapter 4. Season OG was just the separate season, its own separate season from all of the chapters that Epic Games made. Well, at the end of Season OG, we got the Big Bang event, which we thought was gonna be a really big cool live event that was gonna bring us into chapter 5, but no, it just looked like the Big Bang event was a big advertisement for all of the free game modes coming in chapter 5, basically Lego, voicing, and festival. Now in chapter 5 you may have heard a word called Fortnite has lost its identity, but has it really? Yes. Well, has it really lost its identity? Yes. Chapter 5 is a full chapter with Lego, racing, festival, and soon Fall Guys. Yeah, chapter 5 isn't really that good. At the start, I didn't even play chapter 5 because the movement was just really bad. And finally they changed the movement, but it just didn't feel the same. Chapter 5 is not the same as normal Fortnite. Normal Fortnite is a cartoony, unrealistic battle royale genre game with a storyline, live events, and all of that. Not with Zeus, Greek gods, and Lego. But this concludes. But what chapter is really the best? From the community, chapter 2 is actually the best chapter of Fortnite. Chapter 2 is just so iconic with one of the best live events, one of the best storylines, and it was just really good chapter. And I agree with the community. Chapter 2 is definitely the best chapter ever. But I wonder, when will we ever see chapter 2 again?